Hello everyone, boesthius here, and it is time. It is time for the long-awaited Civilization 6 music tier list. If you guys have been around on my Twitch channel, you'll know that I had a sub-goal for making the music tier list a long time ago, and I've delayed it, I've put it off, I've delayed it, I've finished it, I never finished recording it, so on and so forth, and so it's finally here. I'm finally doing it. It's about time. It's like 3 months too late. But nonetheless, late is better than never, so here we are doing it. We're going to be ranking each civilization with this here. Each civilization in the game. We're going to be going with the main themes of each civ. I'm not going to be going with each ambient song. So, for example, that each of the, aside from the main theme of each of them, for example, Canada has like O Canada and a couple of the other ones with them. This one here, we're just going to go with those. We're not going to go with like the ambient themes that happen, after the main theme when you're just kind of exploring and stuff like that. So with that, there is, at least for me, you'll notice a little bit of a bias, definite tier of one of the eras. Or we're going era by era, or what we're doing is I'm picking one song or one era from each civ that I find to be the best song. So for example, I could choose like the Aztecs could be like the industrial, but I think that the Canadians have the best atomic theme, etc. For all of the civs. That way there's only, there isn't like 200 plus songs that I'm reviewing. It's only the like 48 or 49 that we have now with Babylon being out. So I think that's really all we have to talk about before jumping into it. There are a couple things. I'm a little biased, like I said. I think the industrial era is my favorite theme out of all of the eras. I think atomic is the worst. Actually, atomic is the second worst. So the way that I rank them is I have industrial as the best, ancient as the second best, atomic, and then medieval. I think medieval is actually my least favorite. But we can get into that in the future of this video. But let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. We're doing it for A through Z. So with that being said, let's jump into the first one. I also wanted to say really quickly before everything, I enjoy every single song in Civilization 6. It's not that I'm thinking, even the ones that may be in like F tier or D tier, I don't think they're like absolutely garbage songs. There's just I don't know. There's something about Civilization 6 music that just makes this game amazing, right? All the composers are fantastic in the soundtrack. Roland Rizzo, Jeff Knorr, the ones that may not be listed or credited, but they should be proud because the Civilization 6 soundtrack is probably one of my favorite game soundtracks of all time, and it makes the game for me. If Civilization 6 didn't have the soundtrack, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. And I think Civ 5 would still be my favorite Civ, but Civilization 6 soundtrack is just absolutely amazing. So bravo for them, and they should be absolutely proud. All right, so the first one that we have is obviously Teddy. We're going A through D through the civs, not the leaders. So America is the first one. We have Teddy, and what can be said with Teddy, right? Like, with this here, we're gonna start off strong right off the bat. We're gonna go straight into S tier. If you guys know who I am, that should be no surprise to you. I love Teddy. Teddy is my favorite civ. He is 100% my favorite civ in the game. Favorite leader at least. There's just, I don't know, absolutely amazing theme. The industrial, and this is the industrial theme for Teddy. In Civ 5, I loved America the Beautiful when you played as Washington, but I feel like in Civ 6, like Jeff Knorr's composition of Hard Time Comes Again No More is just like, it's probably one of the best choices they've made for a Civ in a very long time, right? This is super biased. I'm American, but like I don't have any, like this piece of music brings up some weird deep-seated American pride that I didn't know existed. I'm really not like proud to be an American like ever. But like when this song comes on, it's just, I don't know, something amazing about this song, right? It's probably just like the national park aspect of it, and it being Teddy Roosevelt out of everything. That I think like when that flute comes in, after that trumpets, do 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 do. It's so good. It's so good, right? It's just, I don't know. Eventually, you get into that big crescendos, right? That are like all the brass and the cymbals crashing. That is just like, I don't know. It kind of gives this weird, not really weird. Sorry, it gives these like big sense of grandeur that America always tries to give itself. Like when you think of America for a long time, it always is like big America, grandeur, like grandeur, like we have the best national, all this type of stuff, and you don't really feel that anymore. And with this song, it kind of just feels like it kind of takes you back, right? And it just, I don't know, I really, this piece of music really fills you up with American exceptionalism, and as like toxic as that is, it just like hooks you right in, right? You feel it, you like, oh, I need to go visit a national park right now. I need to go to Yosemite. I need to go to Liberty Island. I need to go to the Golden Gate Bridge. And that's how I feel about this song. This is S immediately. Myself, I put it into S+ tier. Actually, hold on, do I? I do, because I'm biased, heavily biased. But S+ tier, fantastic choice for America. This is a really good choice, Jeff. All right. So who do we have next? We have Arabia. Okay, so Arabia here. Got Saladin. With this here, I have actually rated Arabia up into A tier. I think the first time that I did this, I had them in, I'm pretty sure I had Arabia into B tier, but lately after listening to it again, it's definitely put up into A tier, at least A tier, right? It's a fantastic song. You listen to, this is also the industrial era. Actually, I should probably put a note to myself, future Jonathan, when you're editing this, put what era underneath the name when you're editing it. So this is when I'm editing it. So industrial era, what a song, really, right? Just the opening horns that start this song, right? That first like few that they just like resonate. It's very somber, right? With the strings behind it. It just reminds me of like Lord of the Rings. Very similar to maybe like when the Twin Towers are being attacked, or sorry, not when Helm's Deep is being attacked, and it just shows the massive forces of Mordor, right at the gates. It's just a really fantastic song. Once again, industrial era, showing why it is the strongest era out of all of the civs in this game. Or out of all the themes here. Just a great rendition. I believe the song is called Talama Akshu Garami. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that or if that's incorrect, but it's just a great rendition. Once again, I'm gonna say, you're gonna hear me say this a lot, but throughout this recording, or throughout everything, Jeff Noor just like rises above, like again and again and again. He constantly just never ceases to amaze me in how great his versions of songs that actually already exist, or songs that have existed in the past, or actual brand new creations that he does based off of text or what we have little history of a civilization. So once again, bravo to Jeff Noor. This is straight up A. We have this in the A tier. Also, I had not mentioned this. I had broken each down. I have a spreadsheet. Each of them are broken down, so each tier is broken down into 4 tiers. We have A+. So for example, S tier is S++, S+, S tier, and S-. S- and A++, for example, are very similar. There's only just it's just really not that. I don't have a point score. It's just going off of based of gut feel. So that is how we are ranking them. Next up, we have Australia. Mr. Curtin. We got some didgeridoos. I have John Curtin up in here. I chose the medieval era for Australia, and this is actually just a really good song. I initially had this in A tier, but I've actually just moved it down to B tier. It is a straight B. No more, no less. Oh, sorry, it's B+. I have it as B+, straight B+, but we'll throw it into the B tier. Waltzing Matilda. I know that a lot of Australians on my stream have told me how much they are tired of hearing Waltzing Matilda because they hear it so much. So, but as an American, I hear Waltzing Matilda. It's great. I love the didgeridoos that start in the beginning. The I don't know if that was a accurate representation of them, but the didgeridoos in the beginning. With the rest of the song. I actually love the medieval version of this song, surprisingly. I thought I would hate it, but the medieval version of this is fantastic. You can hear it. It's just really good. It's just a song that is very lighthearted, and anytime it plays, I enjoy it. So B+, nothing spectacular about the song, just a good straightforward song for Australia. Next up, we have our boy Montezuma of the Aztecs. With this here, Monty, we chose the ancient era because I felt the ancient era kind of best encapsulated about the best era out of all of the music for the Aztecs. With this here, I am actually putting the Aztecs in C tier. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I think it's fairly decent. It's 100% the ancient era is the best one by far. I'm not sure if I'm like super biased when it comes to Jeff Nor's renditions of the songs, or if maybe Roland Rizzo is just used more for used more for when a composition requires like traditional knowledge. When it comes to traditional Nahua music, which is what the Aztec Empire is based around, as far as I understand. It is based on Nahua culture, at least the songs, because that is the region where the Aztec Empire is from. So it could be a difference between me not knowing, or the unfamiliarity of the Nahua culture, as much as Roland Rizzo tries to convey this in his theme. As far as I understood from the research that I did, and I did do a lot of research for a lot of these themes, I don't think there's any specific song that this is about, or this song that this is referencing, more of a style and homage to the style of Nahua music. But for me, at least from what I could tell, the ancient era definitely stood out of all of them. I really enjoyed the ancient era out of the rest of them. So with that, we're just giving it a solid C tier. No, it's just a straight middle of the ground song. Nothing fantastic, nothing awful. So that is how I feel about the Aztec theme. All right, Babylon. We've got Hammurabi. Initially, when I started making this, I was not going to include Hammurabi, but it's actually been a couple weeks since Hammurabi has been out, so I figured I would go ahead and add him in. I didn't do too much extensive research on Hammurabi because I didn't really have as much time to do it, and there wasn't a lot of information. Usually Jeff Nor will respond to a lot of stuff, but to questions in regards to the soundtrack, but I had not gotten around to it. But with this, we actually have Babylon straight up into A tier. Hammurabi, fantastic song for Babylon. We have the industrial era with Babylon. It's a great song. Once again, industrial era standing far above the rest. I'm pretty sure this is another take on the Hurrian hymn. We have multiple in Civ 6. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is another take on the Hurrian hymn. With this here, the ancient theme is really close. I got really close to putting it into the ancient theme instead of the industrial, but there's just something about the industrial themes that Jeff Nor does in this game. You can just start the beginning of this song. You hear that bass, or the brass, just the brass opening with the bass drum rolling in the background. You hear the slight roll into the small little crescendos before the strings start. It's so good. It's so good. It's like it's haunting almost, especially when the actual melody starts. So. We have it, like I said, straight A tier, nothing above or below, just straight A tier. Jeff Nor, fantastic, great composer. I don't know, solid song. Nothing much more to say about Babylon. Pedro. We got Pedro. All right, well, Brazil, I chose the ancient era for Brazil, and Pedro is also in the A tier. I actually have him in A++, so he's almost hitting S tier. This one is showing a little bit of a bias for myself. I studied music in university, and even though I didn't finish, I initially took classical guitar emphasis before I moved into composition. So I love classical guitar renditions, especially in Civilization 6. And how can you not like Ernesto Nazareth's Briherio? I believe that's how you pronounce it. This version of it, it's a fantastic example of like classical guitar expertise. It's just a great song, great technical prowess, really good feeling of like rhythm and swing. Just a great song. Nothing too much to say about it. I love having Brazil in my games because I get to hear it, I get to listen to it. And Ancient Era, straight up A++, really good song. And with that, we are going to move into Byzantium, Basil II. I remember doing the Byzantine Empire with these. This is also another Ancient Era song. I was going to do, once again, the Industrial, but we went with Ancient Era. And here, this is just a solid song, right? Nothing insane, nothing absolutely crazy. I have them in a solid, I had to look for them in my spreadsheet, a solid B tier, right behind Waltzing Matilda. With this, we're once again keeping in with the classical training emphasis that I had. I had when I was going to university. I know that this is an actual hymn as far as I understand from, I think it's called the Akathis hymn, which is a Greek Orthodox hymn. It's a great showing of just vocal talent of choral music, or of choral talent, with a choir. No reason to leave it any higher, any lower. Just a great song, keeping it in the B tier. Yeah, it's good. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's just a good song. All right, Canada time. What to say about Canada? This is actually another medieval version of the song, or of the eras that I was choosing. And with that, I'm putting this into C tier. This is actually a C- tier. It almost fell into the D tier, but it's, I don't know. I was really conflicted about it. I still think it's decent. I like having it in the game because if you notice in a lot of my streams, there are a lot of clips where I'm going like this, listening to this song like an idiot. But for this one, the last three eras is way different than the ancient era, right? The last three eras are a mashup of three songs. There's O Canada, Vive le Canadien. I can't remember what the last one is called. I have to look in my the Crooked Stovepipe. Instead of sticking to one theme like they did in the ancient era. I remember when Canada was coming out, there was a lot of discussion about how they hoped it wouldn't be just straight "Oh Canada," and because they thought that would be super cheesy, especially Canadians, from what I was reading. But I'm glad that they didn't stick with just that, and they kind of did have a mashup. The only problem with this song is it gets super repetitive, and not in a good way, right? I don't really enjoy the industrial era version. It feels like I'm on a Disney park ride. Like, it feels like I'm on like the Matterhorn. And that's not what I'm super into when I'm playing Civ 6. So I don't know. It's a good song. It could have been, like I said, it could have been a little lower. If I would have chosen a different era, it might have been lower, but we'll keep it at C-. I don't think there's too much to disagree with there. So that's where we have Canada, C-. All right. Next is China. Let's move into China. So with China, once again, took the industrial era, pretty standard, right? I feel like you're going to hear that a lot with me, and I'm going to call it out a lot. But with China, this is going straight into A tier. The Chinese theme is fantastic. Originally, it was going to be the ancient era, actually, doing research on this song. But there's just such a, I don't know, the industrial era version of the song. I'm going to absolutely butcher the pronunciation of the name, but Molihua? I'm probably destroying that name, I'm sorry, but there's something about this song, the tempo of the song. It's Largo. It's just the tempo of the strings, in the beginning of the song, and I believe it's a double. I don't know if it's a cello, but I believe it's a double bass, not a cello. And the opening of the song, it just sets the tone for it perfectly, right? I know from doing the research on the song that it's a typical song that's used for a Western audience to replicate or to stand out as China, or at least Chinese culture. But it's a good reason, right? This is a great song, and the industrial era version of the song is absolutely beautiful. Jeff Knorr, knocking it out of the park every single time. A tier. And this one here, I have it and strictly A tier, right in the middle of A tier. I had it at A++ at one point, but I dropped it down a little bit to make room for some other ones. I feel like I don't want to put too many civs in A++, and S and higher. So I felt like China would just be solid right there in A. So solid A. China is a great theme. I really like listening to it as well. Yeah, just A tier. All right, Poundmaker of the Cree. So I know this one actually might be a little controversial in regards to what everyone think of this. I'm picking the ancient era for the Cree. I think that I do love. Okay, so before we get into that, we're gonna rank it. I'm ranking it into a C tier. It's just going to be a solid C. Originally, I had it in C-, but I listened to it a little bit more, and I bumped it up to a C. I know a lot of people dislike having the Cree, especially the ancient era, but I'm taking into consideration the fact that that Firaxis went out of the way to get the drums of Poundmaker, which allows them to give like an actual voice to Cree culture, right, in the game. So that the fact that they went out of their way to do that, I think, is far above and beyond what a lot of composers would do. And I actually like this song. I know that a lot of people are just like, they talk about like how this, along with the Haka chants from Kupe's theme, they get really repetitive, and they kind of do after a while, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy the Drums of Poundmaker's song for the ancient era. So the reason why it's in the C tier is, like I said, it can get a little repetitive after a while, and when you if you're sitting there in the ancient era and you haven't met anybody and you're kind of just listening to it for 30 minutes straight, then it starts to drone on you kind of hard. But aside from that, I really enjoy the song. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's great. But I love the fact that they got the drums of Poundmaker to make a stage in this game. So with that, keeping the Cree, keeping Poundmaker, solid C tier. No reason for it to be any higher or any lower. Just that is how I feel about it, and we're going with the ancient era out of that. Okay, moving on to Wilhelmina of the Dutch. So this one, we're choosing the industrial theme. It's easily the best version out of the four, right? However, with this one, it's actually going to be our first D tier ranking. There were some people that got mad at me for ranking the Dutch theme into D tier. Sorry, I don't know. I just don't like. It just doesn't hit with me. Even though it's still like one of the lower themes in the game, you know, it's the industrial era is easily the best one. It's not that it's like a bad song or like it's a terrible composition or anything like that. That's what it is, right? It's just blasé. I understand that like they're trying to, especially for some of the civs, they're trying to bring each civ's cultural feeling to the game without using specific anthems, setting aside, you know, O Canada or O Canada's a great one, right? But with this one, I feel like it's super out of place, right? The song itself, it's a French dance music of that time, and I think it makes it super ill-fitting. I don't know. I'm kind of contradicting myself when I describe this, right? Because I'm critiquing the song and how I feel about it and how it relates to the civ, but I'm also going against what I said in the beginning of the video. So, but with this one, it just feels like it has this like dichotomy with because Wilhelmina is a semi-current leader, right? She lived until 1948, and the fact that this music dates back to Renaissance era, right, 16th century, it feels more fitting in Civilization 5, where there was a lot of romantic and Baroque songs, a lot of romantic Baroque music, whereas I don't know. There's something about this that just does not resonate very well. Honestly, even finding out information on the song itself, Guillard Lesmeron, I believe that's how you pronounce that. Sorry. It was difficult finding information about that song. This is going to be a theme. I'm going to be singling out Roland Rizzo. I don't mean to, but there's something about Roland Rizzo's style that all of them tend to be kind of lower. So that may be a spoiler. If you know which ones were composed by Roland Rizzo and not by Jeff Knorr, you'll know which ones are going to be on lower tier, the lower end of the list. But yeah, straight D tier. I was going to put it in F, but I think D tier is better because it's not a terrible song. It's not awful composition. It's just, I don't know, just straight D tier. Sorry, Wilhelmina. Cleopatra waifu. Moving on to Cleo. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Cleo is my waifu. So Cleo, we're choosing the medieval era with this, and with Cleopatra, I'm putting Cleo into the Egypt's theme into the B tier, B plus to be exact, not B plus plus, but B plus. With this here, I mean, I know this is a very popular Egyptian folk song. By Saeed. Let me look here by my notes. Saeed Darwish. As far from what I can tell with my because I've heard the song before, but I didn't know what the name or you know where it came from originally. But it is very very universally known in what is colloquially known as what the West calls the Middle East. Doing the research on this song, I felt quite a bit of time delving into his past, the composer or the person who made the song, and I spent actually like way too much. I actually spent more time looking into his previous works and the rest of his works in his library before like actually spending time on the song, which I have it written down here as El Helwa D. I think that's the name of the song. But this is a great rendition. Jeff Knorr, again, knocking out of the park. It's just a really good song, really good rendition. And then one of the only other medieval era songs that I chose. Good, solid B tier, B plus. Sorry, I apologize. I put it into B plus. Just a great song. Vicky. Moving on to Vicky of England. We have the ancient era. This is Scarborough Fair. I only know Scarborough Fair because of Simon and Garfunkel, which is probably what most people know the song from. But with Scarborough Fair and England, we chose the song, and I'm putting them into C tier, C plus to be exact, almost B tier, but not enough. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've heard the song. I may have heard it before as like an actual, folk song from England at some point in time, but I just know it generally from Simon and Garfunkel. And I'm sure I've heard it, in movies and stuff like that. This one, like I said, I'm not sure if it's like recognition bias or anything like that, but comparing this song versus the Dutch theme, I feel like this is a little bit more appropriate for Vicky of England. The ancient era of this one immerses me into I know it is ancient era, right? But it feels like it brings me into a pub during the time that Victoria would have been alive, right? I don't know if that's hypocritical to say when we judged Wilhelmina for the same thing. So if it is, then you guys can yell at me. But I'm putting this up in the C tier just because I think it's a good choice for England. It's a solid song, maybe a little bit on the weaker side compared to the rest of the civs, but it's not a bad song. I enjoy listening to it. I know that there are some people that have disagreed with me heavily on Victoria's theme being so high up, but that's where I have it. Just C. Good song. With that, we move into Ethiopia with Menelik. This is another ancient era song that I have rated for this on the tier list, and we're putting Menelik into A tier. Initially, it was actually an A minus, but I have recently moved it up to A plus plus. I don't know what it is about this song. This one is like leagues above the rest of Ethiopia's songs. I think the fact that if the ancient version of Ethiopia's theme didn't exist, it would be a lot lower. The industrial era is really good, but the ancient era is fantastic, right? The song is named Tazida, which is it's the mode of Ethiopian music, and basically it's trying to think of like how to explain. If I don't know if I could break down what a mode is in a video. So I'll link an article, or I'll link something here to explain what a mode is. If you want to, I'll just link like the Wikipedia definition of a mode, and you can pause the video and read it. But the most basic way of saying that Tazida is the Ethiopian mode of music, there's a lot of different meanings upon that, or a lot of different meanings of that word. But this one, the fact that it just kind of encompasses that style of music very, very well makes it just way better than the rest of the themes for Ethiopia. I ran a lot of I did a lot of research on this to make sure that I was getting information accurate, and I just for this civ in particular, for Ethiopia in particular, I found a lot of praise for their representation of Ethiopian music and Ethiopian culture for Menelik. So and it's fairly obvious why, right? This is like a fantastic song. It's an amazing rendition of this song. The ancient era is just vocals, right? And I believe it's called, if I'm doing my research correctly, it's a krar, that like plucked instrument that you hear, the stringed instrument. And there's also I think it's also called a washint, which is that flute sounding, that wind instrument that you hear. Just a great song. Like, this is just a beautiful track. It's very simple. The vocals are great. Like, I don't know. I just love the vocals of this song. So, Jeff Knorr, you're amazing. Honestly, one of my favorite composers. Really, really good. Like I said, we have this up here in A tier. So, well deserved song. Catherine de Medici of France. With this theme here, I am actually choosing the atomic theme for once. I generally don't like the atomic themes. Generally, with the atomic themes, I feel like they're almost out of place. I don't know. It's not that they're out of place, but all of them sound not exactly the same. All of them sound the same. That's why I also feel the same way about the medieval themes. But I guess that's the point of the atomic themes, right? Globalization is starting to become a thing when you get to the atomic era. All the cultures start to become a little bit more homogenous. A lot of the same things start to happen. The problem with the atomic thing that I don't enjoy is that you get all of these triggered drums. You get the synths that all are the same for each era. and you get this. It almost sounds like, it reminds me of what was that game? The spy game with Splinter Cell. It reminds me of Splinter Cell music, which I'm just not super into, right? Like early thousands, late 90s, industrial electronic music. It's just really not what I'm into. I don't enjoy it. But with this one here, I actually enjoy France's atomic theme, if I'm being honest. I feel like the synths and the pads do like a really good combination to add this kind of like espionage dark theme, which is kind of funny because I was just talking about Splinter Cell, right? I feel like it works really well with France because that's the whole point of Catherine in Civilization 6 is the whole espionage side of thing. Feels like, you're using your spies all of the time in the game. So, but regardless with that, I still have France at a C tier. I have them in C minus. It's not an amazing theme. I enjoy it, but for the rest of it, I mean, compared to every other theme, it's just not my favorite. The song is called let me look it up here. Here we go. The song is called Quand je bois du vin claret, which it's a French folk song. It's about drinking wine. So there's not too much to say about that, right? C tier. We've got it in C minus. It's not terrible. It's not great either. So, yep, straight C tier. All right. With that, we're moving on to Ambiorix of the Gaul. I'm literally just going to, here we go. So I'm just going to rank it, and I'm going to read what I wrote when I first reviewed it, because I feel like that's all you need to say about it, right? We have the Gaul. We have it in A+ tier. We have it in A tier. It's at A+. And this is what I wrote. I was kind of memeing, but it's kind of how I feel about it, right? We have the industrial era, and here's what I wrote. Holy fucking shit, those horns. Are you kidding me? Let's go to war, bud. I don't give a heck. So stupid. Fuck you, Menelik. I don't care that I settled on a hill. I just built 5 gay cité and culture bomb my hills all the way to your borders. What's that? They do more damage than your knights? Heck yeah, bud. Let's go for a wreck. But this is really a great song. That's me memeing on it, but it's a great song. It's an original composition by Jeff Noor. It features the Belgian national anthem, which I think it's called. Hold on, what's it called? La Brabanconne. Probably butchered that. I apologize. A+ theme, just a really good song. Not A++, but A+. I think I said A++ in the beginning, but it's A+. So great song. Love the Gaul. Love playing as the Gaul. Really good civ overall. I have to give credit to Firaxis in this. I haven't said it before in a while, but Firaxis did an amazing job with the New Frontier Pass civs. Every single civ from the New Frontier Pass is absolutely amazing. So, congrats to Firaxis. They did fantastic. A+ song. Oh, Tamar of Georgia. I may not like your civ to play as at all. But you are our second S tier theme. One of the best songs in the game, like easily, right? One of the best songs easily in this game. It's an Orthodox Georgian hymn, which is "Thou Art a Vineyard." I don't remember what the name, the actual name of it, aside from the translation is, but it's a great pick for Georgia, right? Georgia is in the game is very a faith-based civ, and Jeff Noor goes like above and beyond everything with this rendition. That transition in the song from you have that epic choir of epic male choir, and all the fanfare, right? And it just subdues into these strings these strings and these vocals, those I think that's the term. Oh man, it's been a while since I've looked up musical terms. Adagio. Those vocals, they're just like, it's so serene. It's a very fantastic song, and it's a absolutely stellar song. Easily S tier. Probably the only thing that Tamar is good at Georgia is good at aside from building walls. Don't kill me, Firaxis. I love Georgia. I don't, except for the music. But I love having Georgia in my game. I have them at a solid S. They're not S tier or anything like that. Just a solid S. Really great civ. Really great song. Love them. They're one of. Anytime I have Tamar in my game, I'm so happy because I get to hear the male chorale. So it's fantastic. It's just great vocals. I love it. And coming off of that, we move into Germany. Germany, I have in a B tier, solid B. Nothing too incredible with them. With Germany, this is the industrial theme, and it's just another traditional folk song portrayed in this game, but this time it's for Germany. It's very fitting for them. I know this is supposed to be like the Holy Roman Emperor, right? Albeit I think the song that they chose is written many years later, so it's not even like close in the time frame, which is also hypocritical of me because I judged Dutch Empire for this same reason. But I feel like it fits very well with Freddie. Even though it's fit in a different time period, it's a super sorrowful song. I think it's about death. I didn't write it down, but I believe the song is about like death and like idealizing or the dreaming of death. Like it's coming and you're dreaming about it and you've accepted it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. I'll have to look it up afterwards. But I feel like it idealizes his legacy in the game, right? He loves conquering city-states. He can be quite deadly in the game when it comes to going to war with him. So I think this one is for sure. The industrial era is the best one, just like every other Civ in the game, or almost every other Civ. And it's just solid B tier, just a solid B tier song. Nothing crazy, nothing awful, just right in the middle of the pack. All right, moving on from Freddie, we have Gran Colombia with Simon Bolivar. With Simon Bolivar and Gran Colombia, I have them in, once again, the industrial era, and I have them in the B tier as well. With them, it's another, well, actually, okay, this one was kind of hard to pick now that I think about it. I believe that I was going to pick the ancient era once again, but with this, I chose the industrial era. I felt like it fit Simon Bolivar as Gran Colombia, like the theme of Gran Colombia as a whole. It does go against my advice for reviewing each piece, but I feel like listening to the industrial era over and over compared to the rest of them for Simon Bolivar kind of encapsulates how it feels to play Simon Bolivar, right? And the history of the area of Gran Colombia. You have that somber tone of the song Velo, is it Velo Que Bonito? I don't know if it's Velo or Velo. Que Bonito. That is, if you know any history about Gran Colombia, right? Simon Bolivar, he led a war liberating Gran Colombia, and so that first somber tone kind of feels like pre-liberation, and then you have the waltz. You have Rio Lorando, and it's just like a waltz. It's like starts to feel like super infectious. It's everything's starting to become joyous, and then you have the Jarapo styled music at the end of the theme. I think this blend of the three genres, I know that they're not all from one specific area of what is called Gran Colombia, but I feel like the blend of those three kind of leads, at least I feel like it idealizes Gran Colombia fairly well, right? Because historically, Gran Colombia is made up of Venezuela, Ecuador, I wrote it down. There we go, yeah, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, and Panama. And I feel like with these, initially, with these, I feel like it kind of sums up that area into one song because they're all three. It's a mashup of the three. So, I almost picked the ancient theme because of the classical guitar bias that I have, but I just stuck with the industrial here. We've got it in B tier, and we've got it in solid. We've got it in B plus actually, not in B tier. So just a good P plus song for Simon Bolivar. Okay, so from here, we are moving into Greece with Pericles. Greece, another industrial song. Big surprise, right? With Greece, I have them in C tier. This is another song that I feel it's not like super awful. It's not something spectacularly great either. I think the history of the Greek theme is super cool, right? They're using what's called, I believe, the Psychelos epitaph, I believe, as a theme for it, which is really cool. It is, from doing my research, it is, as far as we know, the oldest complete work of music that has been transcribed in human history, which is incredible to think about, right? With this, I'm choosing the industrial era theme. I felt it kind of gives you. I didn't choose the ancient or medieval ones. With this one, I believe, because you're playing as Pericles, right? And you have this whole feeling of like, you have this grandiose feeling of being in your golden age during the Greek times, right? The golden age period of Athens, which is what you do as Pericles. You're always going for culture. Well, not always, but his strength is culture. So unique fact, like so taking all of that into consideration, I'm actually landing this at just like a solid C. I think it's a great song. I don't think it's amazing. I think the history behind it is fucking cool. I think that's really amazing and really cool. You know what? Actually, while I'm just talking about it, I'm actually going to bump it up. I'm going to bump it up to a B, just a straight solid B. Talking about it realizes that I'm an idiot. We're just going to put it into a solid B tier. It's a great song, but with the history behind it actually makes it even cooler. So B tier for Greece. And coming off of that, I think I'm going to have the most controversial pick for music in this game, and that is with Hungary. We have Matthias. He is one of my favorite civs to play, but with this Hungary, we are putting it into our second D tier. This is going to cause a lot of controversy, and people are going to be very angry at me for this, because in chat, every time I stream and I'm playing as Hungary, the Hungarian theme comes on, and we somehow get into the topic, or anytime we get into the topic of my music tier list, people are always like, you have Hungary up there in your S and A plus tier, right? And I go, no, I don't. This is another industrial era theme, but this is another reason why I have Roland Rizzo on the lower tier. Don't know what it is. I just don't know, man. After the 20th time listening to this theme, it just really starts to wear on you, right? I feel like the beginning movement of the theme, I don't remember the name. I didn't write down the name because it's different, right? Or the name of the song, but I feel like it's super nice. And then once you get into that dotted rhythm, it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm just so I'm so over it. I just don't want to hear that rhythm anymore. I don't know. I love those cellos in the beginning. It kind of makes the song like pleasant, but a little bit melancholy at the same time. But it's just, I don't know. The song gets super repetitive for me. And I'm sure people are going to be like, you think Hungary is repetitive, but you don't think that the Cree song is not? And I'll be like, yeah, that's right. I don't deal with it. But I have it just a strong D plus right here. It's a D plus plus, actually. Sorry. Almost C tier, but it's not. It's D plus plus. And with that being said, we move straight into the Incan Empire. We have Pachacuti here. Pachacuti, I chose the ancient era with this theme. And with Pachacuti, I'm placing them into the C tier. I believe I have it into C+. That is correct. So right into C+ tier. It's another song where the ancient era just like absolutely outshines everything else. I do like the industrial version of this theme, but I feel like the ancient era just encapsulates really well that the feel that they're trying to get for the Incans quite well, right? I feel like it's one of the few compositions from Roland Rizzo that I surprisingly enjoy out of the rest of them. And like I said, I don't hate any of these songs, right? Except for one, and you'll know why when I rate it. I don't hate any of these songs. Like I'm saying that I enjoy Roland Rizzo the least, but it's like trying to like take everything that you love, right, and then rank everything that you love from best to worst. And so you still have this whole ranking of like, if you take the whole section, I love all of these songs, except for one. So when I say Roland Rizzo is like, it's my least favorite song of Roland Rizzo, that doesn't mean it's a terrible song. It's just compared to everything else. So with this one, I think this is one of my favorite songs that he does, but it's still not like amazing. It is a good theme for the Incans, though. I feel like after doing a lot of research, or some of the research that I did for the Incan Empire and what encapsulates, I believe I'm sorry if I butchered this as well. The Ayacuchanos is what the Incan Empire is traditionally known as. So I believe that from what I can tell with the research that I did, the song that is chosen and the way that it plays, I feel like the ancient theme kind of summed this up very well. In that solid C+, solid C++. No reason. Did I say C+ earlier? I meant to say C++. I'm sorry. Solid C++ here. No reason for me. I don't think it goes up to B tier. I don't think it's made it there yet, so that's why it's in C++. All right. So we have India here. I just chose, it could be either, Gandhi or Chandragupta, but we have India. And with India here, I have them in the solid B tier. I have them in B minus actually. So B minus tier for India. We have the industrial theme, And sometimes you just have to go against your own advice and just choose the industrial theme. I know that like the ancient era probably fits a little bit better, but the industrial theme of the song, Vaishnava Janato, gosh, I hear myself saying these, and there's probably some historian just like cringing or someone who actually speaks the language that I'm trying to say. It's just so epic compared to the rest of the themes, right? It's hard not to rank this one the best. The ancient theme is good, but there's something just about like the fanfare in this song that just makes it its own, right? And as far as I understand from my research that I did, the actual poem itself arose quite a bit of popularity during the time of Gandhi, even though it had been around for centuries before Gandhi. So it makes sense that they would choose this as the theme for India. Great song. Industrial era is fantastic. We have it as a solid B- here. And moving on from that, we have Gatarja, we have Indonesia. This one is a fantastic song. I'm gonna throw out my rulebook here, and I'm gonna throw in by saying that the atomic version is the best version of the song, right? And this is our third S tier song. I think with this actually might be a little controversial, but I don't know. The Indonesian song in Civilization 6, Indonesian main theme in Civilization 6 is absolutely beautiful. We're choosing the atomic era because I feel like I mean, all of the versions show, it's called gamelan playing, gamelan, which is you'll hear that like syncopated rhythm on all of the songs, right? The atomic era just completely overwhelms the rest. It just kind of makes you feel insignificant, but in the best way, if that makes sense. It really gives you that feeling, the atomic theme does, that feeling that you are, as Carl Sagan would say, that you are that little speck of dust floating on a blue dot, aimlessly through space. There's that slow build up through the song, right? And the majority of the song, it's quiet. It's this build up. You have the syncopations going on over and over with, I believe the instrument is called a saran. And the syncopation is the offbeats, right? There's two different offbeats playing against each other, but because they're both offbeat, they work very well. And I think with this is that, I mean, this is another reason why I loved making this tier list, because I spent hours and hours and hours doing research on each of the themes and each of the styles of songs and how they're culturally significant. And I feel like this version of the Indonesian theme, it incorporates both Balinese and Javanese styles, that it just makes it it's just so beautiful. This song is fantastic. I could be wrong, and please correct me if I am, but I think the majority of the influences of the songs are more Javanese and Balinese, especially if you look at the titles of the songs on the soundtrack. But I mean, regardless, this is an amazing song. It wholeheartedly deserves up to be an S tier. Yeah. Indonesia, S tier, easily. I have it actually in S-, but it is an S tier song because it's absolutely awe-inspiring. And with that, we move into Japan, Hojo. With Hojo, initially I actually had this song in C tier, but I am moving it up to B tier while we're speaking because I had a chance to play Japan again fairly recently, and listening to the Japan's theme made me appreciate it a lot more than I did before. So with that, we're choosing industrial, and I'm putting it into the B- tier. Another industrial theme, big surprise, right? Big surprise here. I know this is a great. I know this is another Japanese folk song, and I feel like the industrial era does just a great take of it. It's not as heavily westernized as most of the other themes in the era are, which is kind of the problem with a lot of the industrial era themes, right? Is that it heavily westernizes these themes that are maybe during the industrial era were not, like, that type of music was not influential to them. But with this one here, I think the industrial era works very well. I know that everyone loves the Japanese atomic theme, and I don't like it at all. I feel like it's one of the few ones that kind of pulls me out of the immersion of the game, more so than the rest. To To me, the Atomic theme feels more like the intro of like a late 90s murder mystery TV show or murder investigation TV show than people always comment on like the videos or like something, and they'll say like, oh, it reminds me of Blade Runner, but I don't hear it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like I'm in Blade Runner when I listen to it. Regardless of that, I'm moving it up into a B tier. We're moving it into B-. I think it's a great song, and I think that is where it deserves. I think the Industrial Era is better, and fight me on it. I'm just kidding. I like the Industrial Era more than the Atomic, so. And going from that, we go into the Khmer, which is funny because I was just talking about Atomic eras, and I think the Khmer have another Atomic era song that's fantastic, at least for them. I am putting the Khmer up into to B tier as well. We have them into B-, another B- Civ. That's a good song. I think it's actually like compared to the rest of the eras, it's actually magnificent. I don't like the medieval era at all. I feel like the industrial theme is okay, but I feel like the Atomic theme just kind of encapsulates the feeling of the song, the original song. Which it was really hard to find an example of this song that it's based off of, because I don't believe, like, trying to search the English transliteration of the song, which the name of the song is Khmer Rum Samagui, I think. But I feel like it works those synth instruments that are futuristic into the song really, really well compared to the rest of the eras. I think it's a great rendition of this one. So with that, we're going to put the Khmer main theme up into B tier, and we have it at another B-. And moving on from the Khmer, we go into the Kongo. And with the Kongo, we have the ancient theme. I really enjoy the ancient theme, the Kongo ancient theme. I think it's just a super simple, honest piece when it comes to an ancient era. And it definitely gives them their best theme, right? At least for me, that's how I feel about them. With the Kongo, we're putting them up into B tier as well. There's going to be a lot of B tiers, which kind of makes sense, right? Because B is like good, but not absolutely amazing. It's not an average, but it's just like it's above average, right? And it's songs that everyone will typically enjoy. With that, I think it's just a really good Congolese folk song. The song is called Banaha, and it's super easy to listen to, super tranquil and simple. The Ancient Era is a fantastic lullaby. It's just a really, really good song. So I would highly recommend, if you have the chance, I would highly recommend looking into the history and the reasonings why Jeff Noor chose his renditions of the songs, or why he chose the songs in general to go with the cultures, because it's really fascinating, and it kind of just shows you how much work has to be put into creating the themes of these songs, even when you're borrowing themes or building off of a foundation that's already there for these songs, right? Like the song Banaha is already a Congolese folk song, and it's what he uses for the main theme of the Kongo, and building on top of that just shows you how good of a composer the composers are for Civilization 6. So makes the song just fall into an easy B tier, solid B, no higher, no lower, just right there in the middle of B. And after we have the Kongo, we have Sonduk of Korea. Where are we placing Sonduk? Well, with this, we are choosing the Industrial Era again. I mean, I don't know. Do I need to go any further with this? This is obviously S tier. Korea's theme is fantastic. It's so good. It's so good. Like I said, I know I've given Roland Rizzo a lot of flack in this, but the song is called Arirang, which is just a traditional Korean folk song that is, it's kind of similar to, I would like to explain it as like everyone in the USA kind of knows like Amazing Grace, right? Or America the Beautiful, at least used to. Arirang is like the same type of thing. This version is so good, man. The industrial version is so fantastic. You have the opening just starts off so well, right? You have these strings that are playing that kind of just crash into this wall of sound. It's, I don't know. I've also heard the song a lot too. I've been I followed StarCraft Brood War for a very long time, which, if you know anything about StarCraft Brood War esports, it's that it was dominated by South Korea and really only played in South Korea for a very long time. So I've heard the song in multiple, and once you start, being into that, you start to branch off into other things of Korean culture. And so you hear this every once in a while in different applications of media, whether it be a movie or a show or whatever. So that may have biased it a little bit, but this is, I don't know, the duet that happens in the song, like between the strings and the horns, I feel like it works so perfectly. You have this juxtaposition of orchestra, right? And then traditional instrumentation that happens in the middle of the song. I don't know, it's just a fantastic song. I talk about it on stream, how amazing I love this, or how much I love this song, so solid S here, right in the middle, S tier, not S plus, S minus, just straight S. And going off of that, we move into our boy Alex of Macedon. With Alex here, I had chosen another industrial era song, and we had also placed Alex. Wait, where did I place Alex? Where's Macedon? Did I actually not rank Alex? I did. Oh, yeah, I did. I just didn't put it in here. Okay, there it is. So with Alex of Macedon, I put him into C++. I had it in B tier originally. I'm reading my notes on it, and I had it in B tier originally, but I kind of dropped it down just a little bit here. With this song, I feel like this is the industrial era song, and I feel like this almost feels like a Hollywood theme or Hollywood film when I listen to it, right? The rendition of the first piece, it's called Tino Mori. It literally sounds like it's straight out of like a Western film, right? From like the 60s, talking about like American, like westernward expansion across the United States. That's what it feels like, right? And I'm sure, which now that I think about it, it's probably where these fanfares and inspiration takes their influences from. So that's kind of how the song feels, right? I know there's like quite a bit of discussion in regards to like where Macedon actually is between, Greece and Macedonia, and whether or not Alex himself is like representing Slavic culture or not. So I'm actually just going, because I know there's a lot of criticisms about Macedon's theme in this. So I'm just going to read to you what Jeff Norr said in regards to those criticisms. He said, composer here, first thing to keep in mind is that the music in Civ 6 is not leader music. This is in contrast to Civ 5. With that in mind, we want to make sure each Civ has its own unique musical identity in the game. Ancient Greece is already represented musically in the game, aka Pericles. So it's hard so the musical decisions for Macedon were guided by not by Alexander, but by Macedonian folk traditions. Thanks for listening. So with that being said, I guess if you put it into perspective, it's hard to put whether or not the Slavic folk songs represent this area. So I kind of have to take that with I don't know if a grain of salt is the right word, but just kind of into considerations. And I'm kind of still really unable to come up with an answer on how I rank it. Listening to the song itself, just by itself, I think it's a great song. I think it's a good song, I should say. Whether or not it's representative of that era or culture, that is probably better left to be answered by someone who has a little bit more historical knowledge of that area. So all in all, I'm just going to put this at a solid C++. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's just a good song. So C++, that's where we're going to leave it. And that's Macedon. And then moving on from Macedon, we jump straight into Mansa Musa of the Mali. So with the Mali here, Mansa Musa, I chose the ancient theme. I feel like I actually chose, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if it's every single one. Actually, it's not every single one. It's almost every single one of a lot of the African civs. I chose the ancient theme, and I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's like any specific reason behind that aside from, whether or not it represents, like West African culture, for example, with the Mali more so than it is a fantastic song. I feel like a lot of the songs, at least for, we'll just take Africa, for example, right? Africa is this massive continent. And I feel like a lot of the songs, once you jump into the medieval and industrial themes, kind of take away the, not necessarily the cultural significance, but the feel of the cultures themselves, right? Medieval, the reason why I dislike the medieval era so much is because it just literally every single song feels like it's a Renaissance era medieval England theme, right? If you can hear the lutes, you can hear like it just feels like I'm playing like The Witcher, right? And I feel like that does, like, I feel like if you're listening to a Mali theme in the medieval era and it feels like you're playing The Witcher, then I think you're doing something wrong. Not to say that like that their themes are bad, it's just that's why I dislike the medieval era so much. So with this, like I said, let's jump back into it. I'm going right into the ancient era here. With Mansa Musa, I feel like Mansa Musa, I put it at a B tier. Initially it was B minus, but I'm just gonna move it straight up into B. A lot of B's in this. With Mansa Musa, I feel like the entire song is represented. The entire song, it is represented by the West African instrument. It's called the kora. It's that stringed instrument that you hear. It's basically like if a lute and a harp had a baby. This is a great song. I've heard it before. I heard it when I was studying music. The song is called Mansan Sise, which is, at least now that I know, it's a more modern adaptation of an older song. I've heard it before when studying music in university, and it's a great song. I loved it then. I still love it now. And here I'll play a little excerpt of what Jeff Knorr had to say about it. Here's what he has to say. He said I was very grateful to be able to work with kora player Amadou Koyati, who is a master diali, which is an oral historian and musician of the Manding tradition of West Africa. His musical lineage in this tradition goes back an amazing 150 generations, which is absolutely insane. That's crazy. That's awesome. The theme for Mali is based on two traditional songs from this tradition, Mali Sajo and Masana Sise, or Masana Sise, which is the song. This is a great song. It's I think it's a super strong theme for Mansa Musa, right? And lands at a solid B minus. I don't think that it needs to. I don't think it's any higher or lower. I think B minus is where it drops in. Gosh, what am I saying? How do my words good? I think B minus fits the theme very well. It's a good song. It's not absolutely breathtaking, but it's still a decent song. So yeah, B minus for the Mali. Okay. And with moving on from the Mali, we have Kupe. We have Kupe of the Maori. Is it Maori or Maori? I think it's Maori. This track is great. This is an amazing track. We're just going to go throw it up there. It's S tier. We're choosing the industrial theme for Kupe. This is amazing. This is probably another controversial controversial song that a lot of people will disagree with me with. But man, is this not an amazing theme. I think it's definitely one of the best tracks in the entire game, straight up. It is heavily westernized with like all the orchestra that's behind it, but God, this is a song amazing, at least for the industrial theme, right? This is an amazing song. I don't know, it's just so good. It is the first piece, which you hear is Pokare Kare Ana. It's a love song that was written in the 20th century. At least according to my research that I've written down here. And from my research, it was popularized by Maori soldiers who were heading off to war during World War I. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I had read about it. What a great song, right? It's so good. The song is broken up into three pieces. The first part is Pokare Kareana. Then you have Kamate, which is that Maori haka chanting that you hear. You could tell because it breaks off from that like really peaceful, almost ethereal part of Pokare Kareana, and then you hear this brass that just jumps in, and you hear the haka chanting immediately. And then once the haka chants finish, it brings back into this amazing, like really good crescendo at the ending of Pokare Kareana. It's just like a really good mashup of the two. Usually you wouldn't think that that first section and the haka chants would flow so well into the ending of the crescendo, but oh my gosh, it's great. The whole theme is amazing. It kind of makes me feel very hopeful. It kind of instills this joy that I feel. I don't know what it is specifically exactly, but Jeff Knorr did an amazing job composing this, because there's solid S plus song right here. It's not S plus plus. We only have one right there, and that's Teddy's theme. But the Kupe's theme, Maori theme, is an S plus right now. It's fantastic. Every time on stream, there's a lot of people who would be like, I can't stand the haka chants, and I absolutely love the haka chants, which kind of, I don't know if that is that fair for me to say that I love the haka chants, but I don't love the pound maker ones. I mean, I like them. They're not bad, but the haka chants are, I don't know, there's something super powerful about the haka chants, and then jumping into Pokare Kareana with that song is just like, I don't know, there's something unbelievable. This song is really great. That's all I have to say. S plus, amazing song. Jeff Knorr, once again, you're a god. And so moving on from Kupe, we go right into Lataro. With Lataro, I had with Lautaro of the Mapuche. I have chosen the ancient theme here. Now that I think about it, there are a lot more ancient era themes on this list than I thought there would be. And I have to give Roland Rizzo credit than I have been. I have been kind of brutal in regards to saying, I hate all of their songs, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't hate them. It's just generally they're a lot lower. But this theme is really, really good. We're putting the Mapuche theme up into A tier. We have it down at A minus next to Ethiopia. Initially, it was lower, but I have listened to it by quite a bit, and I've come to really like it. With this theme, I feel like, I don't know, I think it's just really good. It did take me a while to track down a lot of the history behind the theme and a lot of the history behind the culture, because the name of the track is just Traditional Mapuche, right? That doesn't really give you anything. You just have to, so you're gonna have to start Googling traditional Mapuche music. And I did find a lot of influences from like Mapuche culture, which, if you're unaware, that is the indigenous people of Chile. And I found a lot of influence and information about that, but it wasn't necessarily like one song in general. If you listen to all of these different songs, there is a lot of it is based off of Violeta Parra, which is like the she is the, like, I guess you would call it like the founding mother of Chilean like folk music from like the 60s or so. But with that, it wasn't like anything specific, right? I do know that with the music, if you listen to the lyrics of some of the songs from that, or the song that a lot of the theme is based off of or takes influences from, it talks about Lautaro being mentioned in the song as like the Lautaro is mentioned as the song is. It's basically about the past injustices and continuing injustices that the Mapuche people have endured in Chile. And it's in which, what Lautaro is based off, not Lautaro is based off of, because Lautaro is a real person. But in his time, he led the resistance of the Spanish conquest on the Mapuche people, kind of, very similar to Simon Bolivar in that aspect. This is a really good song. A lot of research went into this theme, right? Not to say that a lot didn't go into other themes, but I feel like a lot more research and care went into this theme. And I have to give Roland Rizzo, and I think his name is Phil Boucher, is the other composer, a lot of credit, because it just shows you how impressive and daunting it is as a composer to get themes right that kind of encapsulate a culture. And this is a great theme. This is a really good theme. The history behind the theme is fantastic, and that sounds bad, not fantastic, but getting the history behind the theme is right, and just a good theme. Solid A. And then we go from Mapuche into Lady Six Sky of the Mayans. Lady Six Sky, I initially had this actually fairly low, but then I started to listen to it more. I had Lady Six Sky in quite a bit of my games. And with that, I do move this one a little bit, but I actually move Lady Six Sky up into the C tier. We have Lady Six Sky into the C plus tier. Initially, it was down a lot lower, but I have Lady Six Sky in the C tier. I love the theme, the do 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 do, which you can hear right here. But I really love this theme. I initially was choosing the Ancient Era, but after a while, I actually come to really like the Atomic Era. This is another Atomic Era that I enjoy. The Atomic version of the middle part of the theme, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's spelled XTOLES. I don't know if it's Ishtoles, but I think it's fantastic. I think the Atomic version is really good. It's kind of that perfect blend of what I feel that they should have gone for in most of the other Atomic themes. You have that futuristic drums, right? The like the really futuristic drums. You have those like slightly syncopated synths in the background, and I think it works really well, right? Here, this is what Jeff Noor has to say about it, which I wholeheartedly agree, and you can tell in the songs. It says Mayan music is based on traditional. We tried to base it on traditional Mayan music as much as possible. A lot of their music was lost after the arrival of European colonizers. But according to him, he's done his best to base things off of some field recordings we have of the Mayans with more limited European influence. So the main theme is based on Rabinal Achi, Ishtole, and Balanchan. All in all, in between this song and the Ancient Era, I was originally going to choose the ancient era, but I really enjoy the atomic theme of this one. With that here, we have it at a C. Sorry, I keep getting them all mixed up. This is a C++. It's not just a C+. We have it at C++. It was initially going to be a B tier, but I like it at C++. So that is where we have it at the moment. All right, Genghis Khan, Mongolia, my boy. We have, like I said, with Mongolia, we haven't actually. This is one of the few medieval songs that I have in here. With this, I really enjoy Mongolia's theme. I have them at a solid B tier. We have them in B. As with this one, I mean, I don't know. It's the medieval era is like bonkers, man. It's really good. Like the strings really set the rhythm for the theme, right? And the strings are almost percussive in that sense. I feel like it's done like that way on purpose, and it probably is. Because you do a lot of research on Mongolian pastoral songs, which is what the themes are based off of. Because the song is literally called Pastor Song, and you get these like super long, drawn out notes, right? And they're like multiple bars long, and that's what they call them. They call them long songs. But with the rhythm of the song, I feel like it's like almost percussive on this way where. I don't know if it's done on purpose, but a lot of the songs are all triplets, right? It's like you hear that, and I don't know if those pastoral songs are like that way on purpose. I don't know if it's supposed to be a like highlighting, the cavalry aspect of it. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it's just coincidence. Because the majority of the pastoral songs that I did in regards to research on Mongolia in like, nomadic lifestyle and livestock and stuff like that, tends to feature a lot of triplets. So I don't know if that's accidental. I don't know if it was on purpose. Oh yeah, there's throat singing too. How could I forget that, right? Mongolian throat singing is incredibly difficult to do. It sounds, a lot of people like hear the Mongolian throat singing and they're just like, that. What is? I don't think they understand how difficult and how much technique and how much technical skill you need to have to perform Mongolian throat singing. So I don't know. It's fantastic. This is a great song. With Mongolia, I'm putting them up into a B+, almost an A tier, but I love the triplets in this song. I love the medieval version of the song, which is weird. But yeah, it's a great song. All right, so moving in or off of Mongolia, we jump into Herald. We jump into Norway here. Another industrial theme. Herald, this is going to be in the C tier. I have them in C+. With this is just like a really morose song, right? I think the song itself in this is super morose, but I don't believe that the lyrics, like the actual thinking about the song itself, I think the lyrics are a lullaby, like just trying to get a child to go to sleep. So I feel like this one here, this is another Roland Rizzo song. This song feels incredibly morose. It's super sad. And I almost get like a feeling of anxiety as like once you get into the middle of the song, right, the brass starts to come in, and there is one part of the song that I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy IX or if you're familiar with Nobuo Uematsu, there's Steiner's theme from Final Fantasy IX. It was like ba-dun, 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 dun-dun. And that takes this song. You can hear a lot of that in this. I don't know if Nobuo Uematsu took a lot of influence from this era of Norwegian composition. He probably did, right? Because Steiner is a medieval knight. It kind of gives a lot of that, romantic composition of that period. Liszt, etc. But with that, the song, I mean, it's good. It's not my favorite out of the bunch. It's not my favorite theme. It is very sorrowful, which kind of fits Harold as he's, pillaging everything, but it's good. I'm going to give it a solid C+. Not a terrible song. Not a fantastic song, but it's just good. And from Herald, we jump into Aminator of Nubia. Another song here that is in the atomic version. I actually was surprised about how many atomic versions I was going to put in this. I thought there were going to be a lot less, but there's quite a few of them. With Nubia, I think the Nubian theme is going into the C tier. With Nubia, I think the atomic era is where it thrives mostly, at least for Nubia in this instance. It is based off of a Nubian folk song, Ala Musua. I have a hard time ranking this song initially because if you listen to the song, the folk song has vocals, and this one does not in Civilization 6, right? And if you listen to it with the vocals, the song is a lot more impactful, and I feel like the song without vocals kind of just makes it feel really empty. But regardless of that, if you take that outside of consideration, the Atomic Era is, I think, the best version of this song, at least for Nubia. It is the medieval era, like, once again, is the weakest piece out of this. The medieval era, I feel like I mentioned it before, right? But every time there's like an attempt to transform a traditional African song into like a Western, like a Eurocentric medieval music, it just feels like super soulless. It feels like it just like sucks everything out of the song. And I feel really bad for saying it, but it's super apparent with the Nubian theme. Like, if you listen to the Nubian medieval song, it's probably one of the worst songs in the entire soundtrack. But outside of that, you add the Atomic Era or even the Ancient Era, and I think it encapsulates Nubian culture very, very well, as well as just being a good song. So with this, we're going to give Nubia a C+. I feel like that's right around the middle of the pack, and I think that's applicable for the song. Suleiman. We are on the Ottoman Empire now, jumping into another industrial era theme. I actually had a difficult time choosing between what I would rank if it was going to be the industrial or the medieval theme with Suleiman. But with that, I ended up choosing the industrial theme. With this here, I mean, it is, I think this theme represents I don't know, it's hard to say, right? Because the medieval theme, it kind of represents the era that Suleiman was a part of. Albeit the main theme that this song is written after was written in the 19th century, so it's kind of hard to say, right? Especially going off of my rules that apparently don't matter anymore. Regardless, I mean, the industrial theme is super good, right? It's a powerful and weighted theme for the Ottoman Empire, and it's a great way to showcase Samai, which is, I mean, it doesn't have vocals in Civ 6, right? But you have that very signature sound of the time signature of 6/8, right, changing in that song. So it is very apparent, which is what, Samai is known for. Overall, just a great theme. Most of that are familiar with the theme will recognize the vocalization of the theme that ends the song. So I don't know, it's a good theme. It's a great theme. I'm gonna give it a B++. Originally I had it in B-, but I'm gonna give it a B++, almost A tier. But not quite. All right, so with that, we jump into Cyrus. Cyrus of Persia. The Persian theme here, we have also chosen industrial. I think the majority of the songs are industrial from here on out. If I look at my list, yes, they are. So the majority of the songs are industrial, and with Persia, I'm jumping this all the way up into an A tier. Persian music is great in general. I feel like Jeff Nor did a really good job to capture Persian sound. The instrument that is played is called a santur. There are multiple versions of this instrument known for each in that whole area. In Turkey versus Iran versus all the different areas around that geography. But the santur, it's that stringed instrument that you hear, and I feel like it's super. You can hear it in each theme from Ancient to Atomic, and I feel like it's perfectly suited for the compositions that Jeff Nor created. Right. I think the industrial era fits Cyrus very, very well, and it's just a really good example of bringing like motifs and themes of Persia into the industrial age without losing like the personality and the culture of Persia in general. So this is a solid theme by Jeff Nor. Solid A, right there in A, in the middle of A. Not much to say about it, just solid A tier. Okay, Dido. Where are we at Dido? We have Dido, Phoenicia. Another industrial era theme. Are we surprised? With Phoenicia, we actually have this in C tier. We have it in C-. I almost, you know what? I'm actually going to put it in D tier. I had it in C tier. We're going to put it in D tier. We're going to put it in D++. I had it in C-, but we'll put it in D++. with that, this is a Hurrian hymn, which, if you are unfamiliar, it's a collection of the oldest notated works of music in the world. That's pretty remarkable, right? If you take it into context, you know what? I'm gonna bump it up. We'll bump it up to C-. If you take the history into context, which that's what I did with Greece, so we'll do it with Dido as well. That makes it super cool, right? Thinking about it, the same hymn is used as an influence for the Sumerian theme as well. But I don't know. Taking it into context, it should be ranked higher. But I can't put a finger on why I'm not super into this theme. I mean, it feels unfinished, which is kind of the point, right? Because we don't have the full work of the Hurrian hymns. They were never completely finished, and this is just kind of a take on them by Roland Rizzo. I think overall, I'll just put it at C- tier, just to taking history into context here. But with that, I mean, C-. I think that's fair. Okay. So we're jumping right into, let's space these out a little bit, jumping right into Jadwiga. Jadwiga is of Poland. Poland in Civilization 5 was my favorite civ of all time. Well, maybe not of all time, but at least in Civ 5. And so with this, chose another industrial theme here. Jadwiga, we are putting into C tier. C+ tier. I should probably space all these out. We'll do that at the end of the video. C+ tier. I mean, the industrial theme is pretty apparent, right? Especially considering the way that you play as Jadwiga and how they feel. This is a really good rendition of, I think the song is called Hej Idovas. That's completely wrong, I'm sorry. But I know that Jadwiga was not around the time that this era was established, but I feel like those huge grandiose bells that you hear, and then those those bellows that you hear of brass instruments, just kind of feels like you're in that castle, right? In Krakow, where her coronation was happening. Doing research on Jadwiga, and her coronation and how that was a big event. It is very hard and very difficult to compete with the boesthius, which is my favorite theme from Civilization 5, and that's what uses Casimir's theme from Poland. But I feel like this is a fair competition. With this, we're putting this into C+ tier. It just does. I feel like it's a very good representation of how Jadwiga, was represented as the king of Poland at that time, right? So C+, decent song. Hello, Trajan. Trajan of Rome. Another industrial theme. Jeff Knorr back at it again with those industrial themes, right? I'm actually, speaking of like those, I'm actually not the biggest fan of Rome's theme, even though it's industrial. So we're putting this down into D tier. I forget who it was, and I apologize. Someone got really angry at me on stream that I didn't like Rome's theme, which is funny because knowing the context behind it, right, is absolutely insane. It's the historical context behind the use of the Magna Mater in its rendition of this melody of Roman themes, right? We don't have any actual idea of what Roman themes sound like, but there was this paper that was published about wind instruments of ancient Rome, Sinalia, Music of Ancient Rome, Volume 1, which is the Amiati Records, ARNR 1396 to Florence 1996. If you listen to that and what they think a Roman song would sound like, it's identical to what is played here. But that being said, it's still not my favorite. This is one of those themes that I'll probably, like I said, I'll get a lot of heat for. Here, we can move myself down here now. I'll probably get a lot of heat for this, and that's okay. Even with context in mind, it's still not my favorite piece. So putting this down to the D tier. Sorry, it's just at a solid D, no higher, no lower. Just a solid D. So that is where I have Rome. Like I said, taking context into consideration, that's amazing. But I just don't feel like the song represents how Rome is played and represented in the game. I don't know. Am I a hypocrite for just saying that versus Ethiopia's music? Maybe, but I don't know. It's not my favorite. Big sorry. Okay, and now we have Russia. We have Peter of Russia. what is there to say about Peter of Russia? This is an atomic theme. This shouldn't be a surprise, right? Like, I feel like everyone loves the atomic theme of Russia, and there's a specific reason why. It's an amazing song. I'm gonna go ahead and rank it. It's at A+, A++ almost. Sorry, A++. It's almost S tier. I didn't want to give too many songs to S tier, so atomic era Russia. I feel like if the Russian atomic theme isn't your favorite out of the bunch, then I really don't know what to tell you. The song is Kalinka, and I feel like the version, the atomic theme of this song is like here's all the other themes, and then here's the atomic theme, like so far above the rest of them, right? You have those like light pads playing in the beginning of the song. You have that like that double bass playing, just like really slow adagio, just like it just light pads behind it, and then you hear that bell, and once that bell hits, it sets the tone for the rest of the song, right? You have that synth section, which works really well, surprisingly, and I think this is probably the best representation of the atomic era that I think Jeff Knorr and the rest of the composers for the soundtrack were trying to achieve. There's a reason why this song has almost 1 million views on YouTube, right? S tier theme, but I'm putting it in A+ because I don't want too many. I don't know. I don't think it belongs in S tier. It's almost there though. That once you get to that transition in the theme, that's out of just like the electronic synths, the oscillation between the pads, and then you hear that just orchestra into pure choral music that was so well done by Jeff Knorr. I don't know, you hear that like Kalinka Moya like in the background of the main melody. It's super epic. One of the best compositional choices that Jeff Knorr has done in this entire soundtrack. So yeah, like I said, there's a reason why it has almost 1 million views on YouTube, and it has a ton on the Spotify playlist. So putting it into A++, almost S tier, not quite there yet, just because if I rank it and I compare this song to the rest of these songs in the context that I listen to them in, it's not as good. But it is an A++ tier, so if you broke this down into 4 tiers, it'd be right at the top. So that's where we have Russia, atomic era, A++. And moving on from Russia to Scotland, we have another atomic era, and yep, people hear me complain about this all the time. That's F tier. That's our first F tier and our only F tier song in the Civ 6 soundtrack. I just like, it's the only time I don't have to fucking hear bagpipes in the song. Okay, don't get me wrong. People give me shit for this on my stream all the time. I don't hate bagpipes. I really don't. But it's just something about the bagpipes in Civilization 6 in the ancient and medieval and like versions are just like, they'll want me to turn off there's multiple times where I'll turn off the music when I'm listening to it, because I just can't stand to listen to them in this, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the theme itself. I don't know if it's the bagpipes themselves, but sorry, I can't stand them in Civ 6. Like even there's a point where the key changes too, right? And the key, like when the key change happens, the bagpipes are a little bit more tolerable to listen to, but man, I just can't. Like the atomic era is the only time where I don't have to, like, I don't want to turn off the music. There's just something about the I'm sorry for any Scots that are watching that are really angry at me. I'm sorry, but the Scottish music in Civ 6 just makes me want to cry. So that's the only time. Remember how I was talking earlier about like how you have all of Civilization 6 soundtrack that I love except for one song? This is that one song. This is that one song that is right here in F tier. So the only song that I'm putting in F tier in this video, rightfully so. And jumping off of that, we jump into Scythia, Tamaris of Scythia. The ancient era is what we are choosing. But this one, I think the ancient era is absolutely beautiful for Scythia. Jeff Knorr composed an original piece to what he believed was what he thought encapsulated Scythian culture. And so here, I'll just read what he has to say about it, because I think it does a better job than what I have to say. For Scythia, we have little surviving information on their culture, and whatever music they have played is no exception. For their theme, I tried to blend many of the surrounding musical traditions of the lands they occupied, and he chose to feature the Duduk in Scythia's music because of the ancient origins in the same area. I apologize. I was talking about the santur earlier with the multiple names for the same type of instrument. I was meaning the duduk. That's my fault. I apologize. The duduk, you may also know it as a balaban, a may. It depends on, if you're in Turkey or Armenia or Azerbaijan. those areas, right? The areas that they supposedly occupied include modern-day Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, and areas of Uzbekistan. So kind of northeast of the Caspian Sea. I was going to choose the ancient era for this theme, but I don't necessarily have like a frame of reference to pull it from for the song, so I just felt to give it to the ancient era. The ancient era is really melancholy. It's very tragic. It's very somber, so I feel like it give it a better spot. For this one, I'm just going to give it a solid B tier. Another solid B tier song. It makes sense that we have most of them in the middle, right, in B tier, because I feel like that's how tier lists should work. If you have something that is good, you have a lot of good songs, a couple exceptional songs, and a couple bad songs. So right into the middle of B, and I'm putting them at a B+ score. So that is where we have Scythia. And jumping off of Scythia, we jump into Spain. We have Philip, we have Spain. I hate Philip in the game, but I love when Spain is in the game because Spain has a fantastic soundtrack. This is another thing that's biased for me because, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I was a classical guitarist in my time at university, and so I'm very, very familiar with Francisco Tárrega, who is the song who is the composer that the song is based off of, right? He's kind of considered to be the godfather of like what we call modern day classical music, classical guitar music. Sorry, not classical music. The piece Memories of Alhambra, which is what is playing here, it is one of the pieces I actually chose to play in my in one of my juries, which is in university, which is at the end of the year you go in front of your professors and you it's called your juries, and you play select pieces and then you play an original composition. At least that's what they did at my university, and it's kind of to demonstrate your skill and your prowess that you've come to learn as your guitar. So it was this one as well as La Catedral by Agustín Barrios. Those were two of the songs that I was going to play, and then I dropped out of university, so I never did those two. I did do juries, but not that specific jury. So this is obviously a subdued version, right? There's no tremolo picking. That's what you hear. If you listen to the original song, you hear the tremolo picking, which is the multiple tremolo, like the song, the picking with all the fingers at the same time throughout the entire duration of the song. This is just one note from each of that. So this is a great piece. If you wanted to learn classical guitar and practice tremolo picking, learn this piece. It's great. I just feel like it's a great pick for Spain overall. With that, I'm throwing it into the A tier. This is an A-. It's, like I said, it's heavily biased. I'm taking this would be higher, but I'm trying to take out some of the bias for classical guitar because I know that some people don't really care for it that much. So we'll drop it down to an A-. Yeah, it's a good song. That's how I feel about Spain. All right. We are on our last three civs here. We have Sumeria, we have Sweden, and we have Shaka, or Zulu. So with Sumeria, we will go ahead and choose once again the industrial theme. Are we surprised? I know this is another song that's based off, or another theme that's based off of the Hurrian hymns, Hurrian hymn number 6 to be precise. I do prefer this version, or this, I guess, rendition of the Hurrian hymn more than the Phoenician one, but not like a ton more. With the industrial era, it does give you some epicness of like the fanfare to the theme, but even then it still kind of feels flat. I don't know if it's because I'm not as familiar with the Hurrian hymns as I am with other pieces in the soundtrack, so I don't have that base of reference to go off of, right? I don't have, like, for example, I talked about it with the Korean theme with Arirang. I don't have that reference, so I've already heard the song before. The same thing, with the American theme, with the Russian theme. I've already have this basis of that I can pull from, so I can reference it and be like, oh, I liked the song when I heard it for the first time. With the Hurrian hymn, I didn't, even before this, I've heard of the Hurrian hymn, but I didn't really know too much about it, minus that it's really, really old and it's, historical context is amazing. So I don't know if it's because of that or if it's, maybe they're just not that amazing of a songs. I don't know. So with that, I mean, we're going to put, we're going to go ahead and put this into C tier as well. With this, I am jumping it a little bit above of Phoenicia, and we're putting it into a solid C and not into C-. Remember, I did have Phoenicia down in D tier, but taking historical context aside, you know what? Even then, I'm actually going to drop it back down. I'm sorry. Phoenicia's going back down into D tier. I just... The Sumerian one, I enjoy the Sumerian one better, and I have that at C. And keeping Sumeria right next to Dido is, I don't think, fair. So we'll drop that down into D tier. Oopsie, I changed mid video. Okay. Now, last two, we have Sweden and we have Shaka. Sweden, with this, we chose the medieval theme. One of the few medieval themes that I've chosen. How many do I actually have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medieval themes out of all of them. So we chose a medieval theme here for Sweden, and we also have Sweden at a, where is Sweden? Okay, there we go. We have Sweden here in another D tier, actually. I had it in C before, I remember, but I have them in D tier as well. I don't know. Just something about, I don't have like a disdain for the pieces. I don't really have any adoration for them. Like, they don't really stick out to me. I know that it is a mix of a few different like Swedish traditional folk songs. And you can tell because when they transition from piece to piece, it's really apparent. It doesn't flow very well together. There isn't too much to say about this. The research that I did, I don't know. It just doesn't even with the research that I did, it just really, the Swedish theme does not stick out to me. I don't know if any other Swedes feel the same. I mean, I'm not Swedish. Okay, my family background is Swedish, but that doesn't matter. I'm American. I'm a mutt, right? But I don't know if any other Swedes feel the same way about the Swedish theme. Please let me know if you do in the comments, because I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Because I know that some people, from what I've talked to, some people are like, oh, I'd love to hear, I feel like this really encapsulates, my country and culture where I'm from very well. And I've also heard the opposite being like a good example for, Canada's a really good example. People who, at least when Canada first came out, they were like, I can't believe they would use "Oh Canada" in this, like how embarrassing. So please let me know. I'm dropping Sweden down into D tier. Not a great song for me. Okay. And here we are, the final of the bit, the final song of the entire Civilization 6 soundtrack, or theme, I should say, obviously before the last 3 come out next month, because we're in January of 2021. We have Shaka of the Zulu. And before we get into just describing the song or anything like that, we're putting Shaka right up here into S tier. You shouldn't be surprised. I feel like everyone feels the same way about Zulu's music. If it's one of the best songs in the entire game, if not the best song, we're choosing the industrial theme too. If I take out my American bias for America's theme, right, this would 100% be the only S++ song there is. So I've got to, I still have America up there in the S++, but I still think this song is better. The song's amazing. It's fantastic. Like I said, once again, Jeff Noor taking these incredibly beautiful songs that already exist and transforming them into excellent pieces of music, right? What this does is this gives me like heavy Baba Yetu vibes. Very, very heavy Baba Yetu vibes. It's so pleasant to listen to that you often forget that you're playing as Shaka in this game, right? Because Shaka, you are very heavily domination focused, and this song almost gives you super super this pride. It fills you with this possibility that like in your soul of like the sense of accomplishment that it's like really hard to describe. It's such a good song. The song Halal Sien Bongela, I think. It's around 2 minutes or so, and you can hear it, and it's just, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. It's easily the best theme in the game, hands down. There's no debate here. If you don't think so, please let me know why. But I think the Zulu industrial theme is the best song in the entire game. Like outside of the Dream of Flight, we're not counting that. Amazing. S+. I like, if I could, I would put it like up a higher, but we're going S++ tier. Shaka and Teddy are up in the S++ tier, but I think Shaka should be higher because I have bias for Teddy. So yeah, Zulu theme is amazing. It's so perfect. It's so beautiful. Big credit to Jeff Noor creating this amazing song, taking a traditional song and expanding upon it. Super amazing. It's when you're listening to it and you have Shaka in your game, you often forget that he's about to declare war on you because this song is so good. It's absolutely amazing. So I really enjoy it. I think you should too. And I think if you disagree, you should listen to the song in full with nothing else going on and just listen to it You should listen to it in the middle of the night when you're getting ready to go to sleep, and just tell me how you feel about that song, because it's fantastic. Okay, so there we have it. There is our rankings. I had a lot of fun making this. This is probably one of the most fun videos I've done in a long time. Even with the everything that went into this video, the research on all of the songs, listening to I literally listened to every single era of each song in preparation of this. So that's kind of why it took multiple months for me to finish it. Right, we have multiple songs here in the S tier. We have Teddy, Georgia, Indonesia, Korea, Kupe, and Zulu. I believe rightfully so, they all belong up there. I'm sure there can be arguments made for swapping some of them out. I'm sure some people feel that like maybe, for example, Russia should be up there and Tamar is down. Maybe you think Scotland shouldn't be in the F tier. But yeah, I had a ton of fun making this. It took a lot of work, a lot of research, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you think some of the decisions that I made about some of the rankings, you know, like this guy right here, are incorrect, please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. It really does help. It helps a lot more than you think. And it's just one of the easiest ways to support the stream, or well, it's not the stream, the YouTube video. It took a lot of hours and a lot of work that put into this, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know. Please, if you have a different ranking, please share with me. You can always talk with me in my Discord. I'll link my Discord right here. And I do stream every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. So you can find me there as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.